Coming up on this week's episode, we are talking England, Germany, and how international friendlies can be improved. Plus, Liam's got a quiz, Who Am I? And there's more Wonders of White, so let's get started. Hello and welcome to a new episode of View from the Sideline podcast. It's Chris here. Liam is here as well. Hello, Liam.
Hi, Chris. How you doing?
Not too bad. You?
Yeah, not too bad at all. Just willing another international break to come to an end.
It's felt long. I don't know why it's felt so long this time.
It gets longer every time it happens.
Yeah. But we are going to. I suppose this podcast is more around sort of the international duty and some of the news that broke out, I guess, over the weekend about Germany as well. So I guess we could start by talking about England. As we record this, they've played Scotland last night, which was a lot better game and performance overall than what it was against Ukraine. So we were supposed to record on Monday night, which we wouldn't have covered the Scotland game, but that has happened now. So, yeah, I mean the two. I know playing Ukraine is always going to be a bit difficult, especially away. And from my sort of understanding of what Gareth Southgate said after the game, he seemed to be quite pleased with the point, but the performance seemed to be really, really lacking. And then especially when you compare it to last night, when, all right, there's a bit more hype around the game due to the fact that, it's a Scotland-England game. So it was always going to be a bit more intense, a bit more fiery.
Yeah.
But it definitely, I thought for me, it showed some of the best that England can do. But there still seems to be issues around the defence.
Yeah.
Bellingham, you've got a future Ballon d'Or winner there, I think, playing for England. And to me, even though he's such a young age, I know Harry Kane is probably at the top of the team sheet for Gareth Southgate, but he doesn't really have that much competition, from a striking point of view, whereas we do have quite a few midfielders. But I think, obviously Gareth Southgate has already said that, after the Euros, he's more than likely going to step down. You would be silly not to build around, Bellingham. Some of the passing he did last night, especially for the Kane goal.
Yeah.
He just makes everything look so effortless, and I think it's looking at him. I think people don't realise how young he actually is. He's, I think he's still, is he 19, 20? I think.
Yeah, 20.
Around there. So, he was absolutely brilliant. He was the best player on the pitch.
Yeah, by a long way.
By a long way last night. But yeah, two very contrasting games. But like I said, still issues at the back. I don't know if there was a problem with Gehi yesterday. I'm not too sure. Was there an injury or?
I'm not too sure. It came off quite early, and I don't think he would have been taken off because, I thought he did all right in the bit that he did play, but he didn't do anything to suggest he needed taking off.
I thought him and Dunk played quite well. I thought they played quite well, but there's still improvements to be made because there was a few good chances that Scotland could have done a lot better. I think McGinn missed the header, didn't he? When just over. And Scotland were a real threat when they were coming forward. But, overall, I think last night is more what I think from an England fan is what you want to see. Whereas I think the approach against Ukraine, sort of end of last week, was very sort of slow and steady, and the build up it just wasn't there. It felt like it was a game in slow motion for England. They didn't really create many chances, and it just lacked all around. But luckily, Italy drew, didn't they, with North Macedonia? So I mean that's helped. So it hasn't really dampened the position that England are in.
Yeah, but I think you mentioned it being slow, and God, it was, wasn't it? It just seemed to go on and on. But I think that's the frustrating thing. It was almost as if we were playing for a draw, and I know Ukraine played well. I think they set themselves up against us to force us to play slowly, but there was just no urgency. It didn't look like we wanted to go out and win the game. It looked like we were just happy to sit there and take 1-1. Which from going behind, yes, you probably do say you come back and at least get a draw, and maybe you're lucky to get out, but it's frustrating that you combine a performance like that with a team selection that's been heavily criticised like it has.
Yeah.
We've spoken countless times about Maguire and Phillips and Henderson, and a number of people that are involved that you could argue shouldn't be involved, and then there's a number of people that aren't involved that you argue should be involved.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it would have changed the game against Ukraine, but it's frustrating when you add in the negativity that's always around the selection to a performance like that. Southgate's just his own worst enemy, I think, sometimes. I'm not saying he should bow to pressure for everybody. If he wants to keep on picking Maguire, fine. But the performances don't merit the inclusion. If Maguire, around the time of the World Cup in 2018, when we did so well to get to the semi-final, he was a big part of that. And I know Southgate says he's not done anything wrong in an England shirt. Arguably he has now, as of Tuesday. But he's not really done anything to say he's a standout performer. And I can say the same about Phillips and Henderson. Maguire's a defender. I know he's not going to stand out particularly, but there are people in that squad that you look at a game like Ukraine and you think you should be the ones to just take us forward, to give us a bit of momentum, to give us a bit of pace, to give us that one bit of creativity.
Yeah.
And there were so many players in the team that I think have the possibility to do that weren't selected. We were searching for a goal, and he took off Maddison and... Is it Maddison and Saka that he took off?
Yeah,
Maddison and Bellingham or something.
Yeah.
And we're meant to be... we're not meant to be happy with 1-1 against Ukraine. We're meant to be looking for a winning goal. So I don't understand why take off your two most creative players. Bellingham's the most informed player at the moment in an England shirt, and Maddison was probably looking like our most creative player on the night, and it just confused me a little bit. It felt like he was happy to come out of it with a draw.
Well, that's with the interview you gave after the match. It felt like that's how he set the team up. I mean, but I mean, in the end of the day, I did read somewhere today that Calvin Phillips has started more games for England than he has for Man City.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you got to think, how is he getting picked? Like, why is he getting picked? Because Ward-Prowse must be sat at home thinking, what have I done wrong?
Yeah,
literally, why am I not there? Because
the frustration is that he, and I've said this before when Grealish was looking at being in the team. I know he was injured this time around, but when he was playing well for Villa, Southgate was saying, I pick players on form. When he came in, he said, I'm going to pick players on form. Grealish hit form. Then it was, I'm going to pick players who are playing regularly for top clubs. So there's two methods that he uses to select people. Now, Maguire isn't on form, but he's playing, he plays for Manchester United, although he's not playing at the moment. So you can argue that about him and Phillips, they're playing for top clubs, even if they're not getting much game time. But Jordan Henderson doesn't anymore.
Yeah.
So you've got to have some consistency. Either stand by your word or don't say those things. Just say there's plenty of ways that you can get into the England team. It's not exclusive to any one individual. But the fact that he came out and time after time said, I'm going to select on form and I'm going to select the people who are playing at the highest level, and then he's gone against his word again and again. It's frustrating. I'd rather he didn't say anything and didn't set out that standard to begin with, to be honest.
I think, in my head, I think all three players that you've mentioned there, Maguire, Henderson and Phillips, if fit, I think they'll go to the Euros.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think in his mind, I think the last two team selections he's made are more than likely going to be the ones that he is going to take.
Yeah. If they've not been dropped by now, they're not going to be dropped.
No, he's not. He's not going to pick, these players and then not take them.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he's picking them, and he says because he trusts them. But I don't know. I think that there's two. He kind of came in and said that he'd be picking on form, and he really hasn't. He's not really.
It's not happening at all.
So
yeah,
I don't really know, but So there's more. I think England got more games that are coming up, haven't they? They're playing Australia in a friendly, and then Italy in the qualifiers. In end of October, I think it is. I think somewhere around there. But
so not long to go until the next international break.
I'm pretty sure it's literally about 4 weeks. But in between.
13th of October.
And then they've got more games in November, I think, as well.
Yes, you're right. So we've got Australia on the Friday the 13th. That's going to go well, and England Italy Tuesday the 17th, and then exactly a month later, Friday the 17th of November, against Malta. You'd hope we win that. Two real glamour ties these in November. Then we're on the 20th of November away at North Macedonia. So that's the level of opposition that we're going to be playing against. That is the perfect time, though, isn't it, to say to, I don't know, Kane, Maguire, like the people that have been in that squad, if they know they're going to get picked, that is the time to say, well, you know what, just in case you get injured or whatever, I'm going to pick some of the players that have been sort of on the periphery of the team and give them a go at home against Malta. What can happen there? With saying to Maguire, I'm just going to leave you out for this one, and I'm going to pick Konsa, for example, someone who hasn't had a game. I mean, to be fair, at Scotland, I thought Lewis Dunk was one of our better players, because I think he's got a point to prove, hasn't he? He's fighting for a place.
Yeah,
I think that helps.
I think he did play well, but I think for a Euros, I think he's too far down that list. I think there's at least probably 6 centre-backs in front of him, if fit. Because obviously Colwell got injured.
Yeah.
Whilst I think so I don't know. But yeah. So next up, Germany. Strange one, this.
They're in turmoil, which is not usual for the Germans, is it?
Yeah, they were until they won last night.
Well, yeah.
So, manager Flick was sacked after they lost at home it was a friendly, wasn't it, to Japan?
Yes.
4-1, which I guess many Germans were hoping it was going to be a redemption, obviously because Japan knocked them out of the World Cup, didn't they?
Yeah.
So, it wasn't a redemption.
No.
And I believe it was the first time I think you told me this, the first time they'd sacked a manager.
Yes, in 100 years or something.
Years or something, which is just mad. So it leaves them one without a manager, obviously 9 months before a European Championship. And the thing is, for me, I think you look how successful Germany have been over the last sort of 20 years, sort of give and take 20 years.
Yeah.
When you think of the players that they've had for them, Oliver Bierhoff, remember him?
Yeah.
What player he was? They've had players like Schweinsteiger, they've had Klose.
Yeah, World Cup top scorer. Yeah.
And now they've got Havertz.
Yeah.
So, when you look at the team, you compare it to the 2000, you could say 2010, 2014 team when you got, the likes of like a prime Hummels in there, you've got Podolski in there. When you compare it now, you'd have to say that probably only a couple of the players that they've got in their team currently would probably even get a look in to that team back in 2010, 2014. But it's and you kind of got to think about, like, from a manager's point of view, he can control what he can do to his best. He can control how he wants that team to play. But if he doesn't have those, world-class players in his team, then that's not helping him.
No.
But when you look, he's got Muller still. I mean, the guy's been around for how?
It seems like he's been around for decades. Yeah.
I mean, he's not in his prime, to say the least. You've got, all right, Gnabry and Sane out wide. They're okay, but they're not. They're not heating. You got Gundogan, who's getting on. Emre Can, he's getting on.
Hummels.
And then, you've got Hummels, and you've got
Neuer as well. I think, is he still playing in goal for them?
He's injured at the moment, but I think he still plays. You have got probably players like Rudiger, who probably would have got in that team.
Yeah.
Back, 2014. This is the 2014 team that embarrassed Brazil.
Yeah.
Remember that? Look, what was it? 7-1 or something?
7-1.
You've got players like Goetze as well. So, they're not producing those sorts of players anymore. On paper, you may say Havertz, he's played for Chelsea, he's played for Arsenal. He might have played for those teams, but doesn't mean he's any good.
No, that's true. Yeah.
Got Timo Werner. I mean, the guy, he's done well, in Germany, but he never tore it up here with Chelsea.
No.
I think Rudiger's the exception there, and I can't see, the likes of Ter Stegen troubling a prime Oliver Kahn.
No, definitely not. It's one of my favourites.
Yeah, so I just think, I think from an expectation point of view, I think slightly needs to be lowered.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if you look at that 2014 team and compare it to the team that have played in the last couple of games, it's just, they won the World Cup. It's just mad. Yeah. Their team for the World Cup was Neuer in goal, Philipp Lahm.
Yeah.
I mean,
world class.
Henriks, he's not a touch on him. You've got
a
prime Boateng and a prime Hummels at the back.
Yeah.
And Halverdes at left back. I mean, Halverdes wasn't the most versatile left back in the world, but did a job. You've got Schweinsteiger, Müller, Ozil, Thomas Kroos, and Miroslav Klose.
Thomas Kroos is a big loss for them because obviously I think he's retired from international football.
Yeah,
so
this is when Ozil was at his best. This is when he was at peak Arsenal.
Yeah.
So I just think the level of expectation probably needs to come down slightly. Yes, you did get knocked out by Japan in the World Cup. That's that.
Yeah.
Yes, you did lose to them again in a friendly. So there's, if you've lost to them twice, maybe you've got to start thinking that that's probably where you should start at that level.
Yep.
Japan aren't a walkover. I think they're in the top 20 in the world rankings. So they're not a pushover team. And now it leaves them without a manager. I've heard that is it Nagelsmann? He was linked to every Premier League job over the summer. That they could bring him in for a year just to cover them for the Euros, but I don't see how that would help them in the long run. But
no, I think the thing is, I think they're. I hate the phrase because managers always use it. They're in a transition phase, right? So, just looking, I'm going through the squad like you've just gone through, and there are some names on there that if they were playing 4 or 5 years ago, just wouldn't have got a look in. I'm looking at Lucas Nemecha. I didn't realise he'd played for Germany, but he's had 7 appearances for Germany since 2021. This is a guy that scored 3 goals in 41 appearances for Preston North End only 4 years ago. So that's the level that we're talking. Moukoko, great talent, 18 years old. He's already had 2 appearances in a German shirt. 12 goals in 59 appearances for Dortmund. He's still only 18. That isn't the German way of doing things. When they were at their most successful, they were keeping their young talent in their sort of junior squads. They were keeping them all together so that they all came through at the same level at the same time. No one really got ahead of the queue and jumped straight into the men's team. Yeah. And that's why they had a generation of talent that were used to playing with each other. Even though they play for different clubs, they were still used to playing with each other at international level. And that is a part of the reason why they look so good. I'm looking now, Mokoku's had 2 caps. Karim Adeyemi's had a couple of caps. He's only 21. Jamal Musiala is in the team. Out of all of them, probably the most fair of getting a call-up, playing regularly for Bayern Munich. He's a real talent, still only 20.
Yeah.
Bella Kotchap has got a call-up. I mean, he's not playing for Southampton. I think, I can't even remember. I don't even think, he left for PSV on loan, but he's not played for them yet. He's playing in the Championship, a couple of weeks ago. So I think there's a few names that are probably there as more squad fillers than anything. But the future's not too bad for them. I think they won the under-21 Euros, did they, this year? Mm-hmm. Something like that. I can't remember. I'm frantically trying to have a look now. But yeah, the under-21s did quite well this year. Or within the last couple of years. So they've definitely got a bright future there. But, they've got a long way to go, I think, to reach the sort of level that they would want to be at. Florian Wirtz is another one. Sorry, he's just a name that's appeared on the list in front of me. He's another real talent, 20 years old. He's been sort of fast-forwarded to the first team. But yeah,
so do you think
it's not the team that they used to be? But I think they always do this. Germany, they always lower expectations. Let's be honest. They've been playing friendlies, haven't they, for the last 18 months or since the World Cup?
Yeah.
Because the tournament is in Germany, isn't it? So they don't need to qualify.
This is the main thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've been playing friendlies. There's nothing on the games. It doesn't matter whether they win or lose, they're always going to be at the Euros next year, right? So it's their home European competition. The fans will be behind them. And as we all know, Germany are at their best when no one thinks they're going to do well. And there's going to come a time, I think, when we're all going to go into a tournament thinking Germany are just not one of the contenders and they're going to surprise everybody. Yeah. So who knows? Maybe Nagelsmann is the man to take them forward into this tournament. Like I say, it's a home tournament, so that might persuade him to take over. I think he'll have his sights outside of international management, but for a 9-month job, that's not too bad. For a 9-month job, he could make a go of it and potentially become a hero and then go back and manage whoever he wants to.
They had Rudi Völler last night, didn't they? As interim, just for the because he says here that he took on a job as the
director for German national team. He's the director. He took charge last night, so he's one of the favourites as well. He has had stints. Before he was German manager in 2000, I think 2000. He was at the Euros, I think, as well in 2004. So maybe it's him, but like I said, at the moment they're in a bit of a pickle at the moment because, like you said, they are hosting the Euros this year. So next year. So they're going to want to have a manager.
Yeah, they want to come in on form, won't they?
Yeah, and like you said, you'd like to think that they probably would have got through a group stage if they had to qualify.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure they would, but
no.
I think they'd give it a go. But yeah. Next, international friendly. So you sent me a message earlier in the week saying, how can we make international friendlies?
Just international breaks. Yeah, how can we improve an international break? Let's face it, as football fans, we always see an international break coming up, and we all go, it's boring, it's dull.
So,
you've got a plan.
I've got a plan. I've got two plans. I've got a plan, and then I've got an additional thing to add to the plan.
Okay.
Specifically for friendlies. The ones that don't matter at all, that don't need to. So, my first thinking was, when they were catching up with COVID, they played a lot of games in June. I don't know if you remember. They did they basically played four, it was Nation League games, wasn't it? They played four Nation League games in 2 weeks. So my first thought is, I know every other year there is a tournament, but why can't they bunch up some of these Nation League games like they did after COVID when they were trying to catch up? Why can't they just do that during the summer? What's to stop them playing those games?
Players might get tired. That's what.
Yeah, I understand that.
They might get tired. Yeah,
it doesn't stop necessarily the league.
No,
the Premier League then. Or if you want to keep it whilst the Premier League is on, why are we having to do it one time each month in September, October, November? Why can't they just set aside 3 weeks and just play the game?
Get it all out of the way.
Do it then.
Yeah.
Because every year they play September, October, November.
Yeah.
Whether it's qualifiers, Nation League, Euro qualifiers, or just friendlies themselves, they always play 6 games across those 6 weeks period.
Yeah.
In those months.
We always say, don't we, in the English game as well? Yeah.
Just stop the league.
They've said for a long time.
Do it.
They've said about a winter break before, haven't they? Why not? Winter break. People will obviously say, I want my Boxing Day fixture. Go and watch England play on Boxing Day. Imagine that. What kind of an atmosphere could we get at Wembley on Boxing Day? England-Scotland on Boxing Day would be wonderful. Give it a go.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that's pretty good.
That would be my first idea, would be to, instead of having a stop, start, just have a stop and a start, and then that's fine. You like in 3 weeks, I know it's going to be hard. You play 6 games in those 3 weeks. That's 2 weeks. That's 2 games a week. That's no more than what most of them are doing anyway in their normal season, if they're in Champions League or anything like that.
Yeah.
Next, to add to this is more of a rule change I think that they should bring in. If you want to play an international friendly, so this is an example. So Colombia played an international friendly against Bahrain, right?
Yeah.
Colombia win the game. Although they will, they will still get ranking points towards their FIFA thing. Very, very minimal. Very, very minimal. So it's at the lowest rate. Right. Here's my proposal. You should not get ranking points if you play a team that are 112 places behind you.
Yeah.
Right. So here's what I propose. You can only claim these points if you play a team that are higher than you in the rankings or 10 places lower than you.
I am all for that.
So, say you are England. I'd say they sit, about 6th or 7th at the moment in the FIFA rankings?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Anyone above you, Brazil, Argentina, play and you'll get your points. But also, you can play any team below you, so 10 places below you, so we'll say they're 7th. They can play any team down to 17th, and they'll still get their points.
Yeah.
If they decide to play Australia in a friendly...
No points.
No points.
Yeah. I think that's a good plan. Because I'm fed up, to be honest, Chris, of seeing USA near the top of the rankings every time it gets near to the World Cup. And it's because, and it's not just friendlies, but it's because their qualifying involves playing Canada, Trinidad and Tobago, Haiti, basically all the Caribbean islands plus Canada.
So they're
going to rack up points.
Yeah. So this is the next point. So because I know I've looked online, it's very minimal, but it's enough that over a period of 10 years, it will start moving you up.
Yeah.
And then that will seed them better when it comes to the World Cup. So I just think this, any Colombians watching, I've got nothing against you, right? But I'm just saying, it was the one that I saw that sparked my thinking that you're over 100 places above them in the rankings.
Yeah.
Although minimal, you will get points that could see them go up a place or two, depending on how far behind they are the team above them. So, I just think for a more fair and probably a more enjoyable watch for a Colombian supporter, rather than them watching a game against Bahrain where they're just going to pass the ball around for 70 minutes and score a few goals, why don't they play someone like England?
Yeah.
A bit more competitive. Plus, I thought international friendlies were there to get you ready for these big games. So why would you want to play a team where you're just going to smash goals in for fun and you're not going to get, the players aren't going to get anything out of that other than to say we beat this team 7-0.
Yeah, because what are Colombia learning from playing Bahrain?
Exactly.
No, this is what I mean. We've all done it on Football Manager to get a bit of confidence in the team. Arrange a friendly against a lower opposition, absolutely hammer them. Yeah. But this is the real world. What is the benefit of doing what they've done?
Yeah, and this will also benefit the San Marinos of the world who have the lowest.
Yeah. They might actually win a game.
I'm not saying that they shouldn't be allowed to play England in a friendly. I'm just saying that if they play England in a friendly, this is where it might get a bit complicated. England cannot record any points from that friendly, okay?
Yeah.
But because San Marino are below them, they could get points for it.
Yeah.
I know it's very, very unlikely that will ever happen.
Yeah.
But if you see what I'm saying, so it just makes the top teams think more about who they want to play, but at the same time, the teams, underneath them.
And it might encourage San Marino to play a team around them.
That's what I'm thinking.
In the rankings.
Because when they play
actually get a win.
When they're playing these international friendlies, San Marino even do international friendlies?
I have no idea.
Because I just think when I'm scrolling through international friendlies, I'm thinking, have I ever seen San Marino play Luxembourg in a friendly? I don't know.
I don't think so.
And I guess that's what the Nations League was there.
Yes, that's what it was there to do.
It's kind of there so San Marino can play Liechtenstein.
Yeah.
That's what they're there. That's like a separate thing. And I think a lot of people, when the Nations League was brought forward, I think it got a lot of negative sort of, a lot of people were quite negative about it, but it actually works quite well because one, it stops people from having endless friendlies, because before Nations League, those September, October, November games, when they weren't qualifying for the Euros or qualifying for the World Cup, they were just playing pointless friendlies. But now they've got Nations League there to kind of get people to start thinking, or start playing those top teams. England are in, although I think England got relegated, didn't they? So they're actually in
we answered that. Yeah.
But then you've got San Marino right at the bottom, who in there, they've got Liechtenstein, they've got Luxembourg, so they've got Kazakhstan, teams like that.
But it does work.
That gives San Marino something to actually want. Because it's figure out, for a San Marino player, it's probably an honour playing for your country for one. But I'm sure after the 8th 7-0, you're kind of thinking, like, when,
why bother?
You are literally turning up to lose, and that can't be nice for them. But when they're playing teams like Liechtenstein, I'm saying Liechtenstein a lot, but they are the closest probably to San Marino in the rankings. But when they play each other, if San Marino score, that's a huge deal for them. Just to score, for them just to score is huge, So scoring a goal for them is almost probably like winning. If they score, they probably celebrate after the game like they've won it.
Absolutely. But look, it does, that actually has some merit, because looking at the table, you mentioned Luxembourg a few times there. They're currently third in their group for qualifying, in a group of Portugal, Slovakia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Iceland and Liechtenstein. Okay, not the most glamorous of groups, but they've won 3 games in that group now.
I messaged you after they won on Friday. I said, look, they're joint second, and then they lost 9-0.
They lost 9-0. They did lose 9-0 to Portugal.
God, I've cursed them now.
Yeah. But still, that is big for them, and it's probably only come about because they've started playing teams that are near.
They've played Portugal twice now.
Yeah.
I know their goal difference took an absolute battering after that, but, they've got teams in there that they can clearly beat because they've already won 3 of them. So, what's to stop them from, doing that? It's because, there's that although they've played probably teams like Malta, San Marino a lot, they're now, they're getting used to winning games, and now they're taking that into sort of the qualifications and sort of the Nations League as well. But anyway, that's enough from me.
I've thought a little differently to yourself.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting a little bit fed up of a few teams monopolising the England places. So I've basically gone for what I'm labelling as a fantasy league approach to international football, right? First things first, when there's international football, I want the Premier League, Championship, etc. to carry on at the same time. And I believe we can achieve this by taking a fantasy league approach and saying England and other nations can only pick 3 players maximum from each club.
Yeah.
And the reason that I think we can do this is because if Man City stacked their team with England players, only 3 of them would be able to leave. That would encourage homegrown talent to come through. But it will stop them buying the best English players because they know that their 3 biggest players are going to leave, etc. So I think there's a way that we can do this. It could also encourage teams like Manchester City to go out and buy just like one of every nationality, in theory, but then they'd lose their entire team when it would come to an international break. because their entire team would be essentially available for selection. Whereas if they went all English, they would only lose 3 players. So it could work. It could be an absolute disaster, but it works quite well in rugby union. They don't have any limits on the amount of players that can be selected for international rugby.
Oh yeah, you're right. But
the national
union
league
still play. The rugby union
exactly.
is still playing even though the World Cup's on.
Yeah, exactly. The Premiership still goes on when the Six Nations is on. For example, you just lose those players. They just have the, like you say, the honour of representing their country, but their club still plays the games while the internationals are on. I would be up for that. I even make it a little bit more interesting. Okay, everybody's up for international selection. You take away the limit of players that can be selected, but teams have to play their under 23s or whatever while their players are away on international duty. I think it would make for a tighter and more interesting league. It certainly does in rugby union. I was infuriated when Leicester Tigers were winning the Premiership and all of our players went on international duty. But it makes the league a little bit tighter, makes it a little bit closer. It lets those teams that maybe don't have 25 internationals, it gives them a chance to catch up. I mean, if you're Luton Town, you would look at that suggestion and think, brilliant. I would have 2 weeks in September, October and November where I could put out almost a full strength side against a team that's probably playing their under 23 team or something along those lines. Yeah. I just think it would make it quite interesting. Obviously, then you've got to look into England under 21s, under 18s, etc. But because clubs actually do have to have players. But yeah. I don't want club football. I don't want club football to end.
In like most of the other sports, that's what they do. They carry on, don't they?
Although having said that, one thing that is good about an international break, and there aren't many positives, but they do have non-league day when there's an international break on, because teams like Villa, Chelsea, where I am in Southampton, because they don't play, then there's normally bigger crowds at local non-league grounds like Eastleigh, for example. You're off to AFC Stoneham next week.
Well, yeah, they're coming to Yeovil. So yeah, I'm going back to back on Yeovil games, which is
back Yeovil games.
Yeah, which is really good. So last week they had nearly 3,000 there. They are closing part of the ground this week for the Stoneham game, so I'm assuming that they're not expecting that many to actually go. So
I don't think Stoneham will take too many fans, but
I mean, I went to the Eastbourne game at the weekend against Yeovil, and they had 91 away fans there.
Wow.
It was good to go see them win, actually.
Yeah, it's good for non-league clubs to get, like you just mentioned, 3,000 at Yeovil. Obviously, you're a big non-league club, but for the clubs that are only getting 100, 150 people through the door each week, when there's an international break on and, fans aren't going to the main Premiership club, Premier League, Championship or whatever, it's good for them to get live football in person and go to support their non-league team. So that is I think that's one of the biggest benefits, I think, of international football. So I will say that I'd like to see that continue, but you should support your non-league team anyway, whether there's international football on or not. But that's a whole other argument. But that's my pitch for improving.
Okay, we'll put it forward. We'll put our ideas forward to the FA and UEFA, and we'll see what we get back. Just speaking of that, I've watched a lot of rugby over the weekend. I don't know about you, but I actually got really into it.
Yeah,
World
Cup fever.
I watched the France game, and I watched the England game, and I watched who were Chile playing?
I can't remember now. They scored a few points, didn't they?
Yeah,
which is the first time they've ever done that. Was it Japan? I think it was Japan.
Yeah, Japan. Yeah, and then I watched the Welsh game.
You've watched more than me, Chris, and I'd consider myself a rugby union fan.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I just got really into it.
It's been a good World Cup so far. The opening round of games have been really good. So.
I mean, England did really well considering they went down. They're sending off very early. They defend. When the defence was needed, they defended well.
Yeah.
And obviously the kicking was pretty much on point. George Ford's kicking was pretty much on point the whole game.
Incredible player.
That really helped. Yeah. Anyway, that's rugby.
We're not a rugby podcast. We need to remember that.
There you go. So that's the end of part 1. In part 2, Liam's got a quiz. I got some Wonders of White and a Who Am I? So we're back in 2. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of this week's episode. We're going to start with some Wonders of White, Liam. So, Kyle Walker, he has a pretty good game actually over the 2 games that he played. I thought he played really well.
Yeah, he's great.
He was like pinging balls around like Kevin De Bruyne last night. I don't know what was going on.
He was.
So, at 33 years and 104 days, he's the second oldest player to score his first England goal. After Jimmy Moore in 1923.
I was going to say, I'm glad you didn't ask me to name
he scored against Sweden in May 1923. He was 34 years old in 10 days. So Kyle Walker was 260 days off.
Still impressive though. Still impressive. And about time as well. He's played often enough.
You think that's impressive? What about Scott McTominay? I mean, he's been involved in more goals than any other player during the 2024 qualifying campaign.
Wow.
6 goals, 1 assist.
Wow. There you go.
How's that happen? Where was he last night?
I know. I didn't see him.
We've also got this guy. 16 years and 57 days, Lamine Yamal becomes the 3rd youngest player in history to score for a European nation. He's surpassed by only Sam Johnston for Northern Ireland, who was 15 years old and 160 days.
Wow.
In 1882, playing for Northern Ireland.
Christ.
This is a mouthful, this name. And Joseph Horvath.
Yeah.
16 years old and 12 days, playing for Hungary in 1906.
Wow. He's a special talent, apparently. I've not seen much of him, this Yamal guy, but a lot of big things expected.
I'm sure he'll be popping up on Football Manager.
I'm sure he will be.
And this one, this is way left field, this one. So this is a team I used to follow in Spain. You know when you kind of choose a team from each league that you kind of don't have any like attachment to, but you always kind of think, I wonder how they're getting on.
Yeah.
Remember Real Zaragoza?
I do remember Real Zaragoza, yes. They bought our star striker Savo Milosevic back in the day. I was devastated as like a 7-year-old.
They are currently in the 2nd division of in Spain. So they've won their opening 5 league games in a single season for the first time in their history.
Wow.
Yeah.
Back in the big time. Yeah.
What a player.
What a player he was.
So yeah, I don't know what it was about Real Zaragoza that I like. But
we've all got that.
It's one of those things. Like in the early 2000s, I think I was just scrolling through Championship Manager, and I was just like, I picked them to be manager, and then you sort of grow an attachment to, just a bit like Leisure for me.
Yes, you're a Leisure Warsaw fan. Yeah, we've all got those teams on Football Manager. Like I say, mine is probably Genk. I had a nice spell as Genk manager on a previous version of Football Manager.
Yeah, it's just those things where you do like a long save of a team, and I remember signing Jack Wilshere for Leisure.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, my God, I've pulled that off. I've actually pulled it off. But yeah,
massive signing.
Bit of a left field one, but yeah.
I like it. I like left field stats.
You've got a quiz this week.
I do have a quiz. It was a quiz that I wrote on Monday. So I'm going to apologise in advance if some of these stats are out of date. I don't think they are. But the introduction to the quiz is because I've said, as England prepare to face the Roll foes, this week's quiz is everything about Scotland. So obviously that game has played. So I don't think there's any question where the answers change. I have had a look through.
I did message you asking where any of the answers are Rod Stewart.
None of the answers are Rod Stewart. None of the answers are Braveheart. No, it's not a stereotype. It's more of it's kind of an England and Scotland quiz, but we'll see how you get on. Some of them are quite difficult. So what I've done is I've got a little bonus round at the end where you can pick up a few more points.
Okay.
Just for a little bit of fun as well. You might get 10 out of 10 and just want to do it anyway.
I don't think I'll go
but who knows? So, are you ready, Chris?
Yeah, go on then.
Excellent. So 10 questions about all things Scotland, followed by a bonus round. Question number 1. Who has won the most Scottish top division titles since its inception in 1890, 1891? I'm not going to lie, it's a 50-50 shot.
I'm guessing this is team, not player.
This is team, yeah.
Oh my word! I vaguely remember that it's obviously between two teams. I think it's Rangers, but I think it's really close.
It is really close, but it is Rangers. Yeah. It is just. So Rangers have got 55 titles. One of them is shared, and Celtic have got 53. I don't know how you share a title, but I had a look into it briefly, and it was a long, long time ago where I think they were just
Celtic
level
were quite
at the
far
top of the
behind, weren't they? I mean, didn't they win like nine titles in a row?
Yeah, something like they've pulled it back very close, and I imagine next couple of years they could probably level and maybe overtake. So well done. 1 out of 1 so far. Good work. Question number 2. Which Scotsman has scored the most English Premier League goals? Now, I do have some options for you.
Is this just Premier League, yeah?
This is just Premier League era. This is not First Division. Football didn't exist before 1992. So your options are A, Stephen Naismith, B, Gary McAllister, C, Duncan Ferguson, or D, Stephen Fletcher. Which Scotsman scored the most goals in the Premier League?
Okay. So you said, who did you say first, sorry? You said McAllister and...
Stephen Naismith, Gary McAllister, Duncan Ferguson, Stephen Fletcher.
Oh... Well, I don't think it would be McAllister. I don't think it's him because I think the other ones are all strikers, aren't they? I am going to go with my first gut feeling, and that was Duncan Ferguson.
Correct. 2 out of 2 so far. Big Dunk scored 68 Premier League goals.
He's quite far ahead. I'm assuming either Naismith or Fletcher are second or third at least.
Stephen Fletcher, I think, was second with 53, or at least he's second out of my 4. Gary McAllister scored 49. Stephen Naismith, only 19. I thought he scored a lot more than that, but no, only 19 Premier League goals for Stephen Naismith. Question number 3.
Yeah.
This is where it gets a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Jota broke the Scottish transfer record this season when he moved from Celtic to which Saudi Pro League club for 29 million euros? While you have a think, there is a reason I put this in, and that's because he basically hasn't played for this team, and I think he already wants to leave, and he's only been there 2 months, something like that. I saw a story where he's been left out of the squad.
Oh my God, I can't even think of Saudi teams. They've all gone from my head. Oh, blimey. I have no idea where he went because he wasn't really one of the ones that I remember.
I didn't know he'd actually gone there.
I'll say the only one I can think of is Al Hilal. Is it Hilal?
That is a club, but it's not them. It's Al Ittihad. I don't know who else has joined them.
He doesn't want to be there.
He doesn't want to be there. I think he's been left out of the squad. I think they signed him, and then I think due to restrictions or something I was reading earlier, he's actually been left out of the squad. Yeah. So he wants to leave straight away. So that was a bit of a difficult one. So let's get you back on track. Question number 4. Yeah. Which former Celtic and Liverpool striker holds the record number of appearances for the Scottish national team at 102 caps?
Well, I don't know if I want to say Kenny Dalglish. I don't know if this is a trick question or not.
It's not a trick question. It is Kenny Dalglish. It is, yes.
I'm thinking, is there someone like I haven't thought of then?
No, okay, it's definitely King Kenny. 102 caps for Scotland, and that is their record. So 3 out of 4 so far. And speaking of King Kenny, he's the joint top goal scorer with the Scottish national team with which former Manchester United and Manchester City striker? It's one person. He played for Manchester United and Manchester City.
Oh my word. Oh my word. I have no idea.
This is a little bit tricky. This is one for the dads and granddads that are listening in the podcast. It's Dennis Law, famously scored a goal for Manchester City.
Never have gone.
Yeah, famously scored for Manchester City to relegate Manchester United after playing for them for many, many years. So yeah, Dennis Law's joint top scorer for Scotland with Kenny Dalglish. Question number 6. So you got 3 out of 5 so far. Question number 6. Scotland finished bottom of their group in World Cup 1998 after defeats to Brazil and Morocco. But which Scandinavian team did they pick up their only point against in that tournament?
So this is basically one of 3.
Yeah, I've narrowed it down a bit for you. I thought it would just be a bit harsh to say, who did they draw against in World Cup 1998?
Okay.
How old would you have been in 1998, just out of interest? I was 7 when this World Cup took part.
I wish I was 7. I would have been, when would you say, 1998?
Yes.
I was second. I was 11.
So you will have a bit better memory probably than I have.
Yeah. Is this the one where we got knocked out of by Brazil? We got knocked out by Brazil, didn't we?
We got this was David Beckham kicking Simone.
Yeah. That was silly, wasn't it? I remember watching that game at home. I'm just gonna guess at Norway.
Correct.
I'm thinking of it's just
yeah, absolutely correct. It was Norway. They didn't do particularly well at that World Cup, but they did score against Brazil. So I think that's what they all remember. But
didn't they get stuffed by Morocco?
They did. Yeah, they won't want me to remind them of that. But yeah, so 4 out of 6. Question number 7.
Just quickly, best FIFA game there was ever was the World Cup 98 edition.
It was a good one. It was a cracking. All the FIFAs around them were top tier games. Yeah. Question number 7. The last time England played Scotland, other than last night, in a friendly was in 2014. Which English striker scored twice in a 3-1 win?
I'm going to say for sure it's not Harry Kane.
It's not Harry Kane.
I mean, well, did you say you didn't say.
I did, yeah. Which English striker?
I think you might have given it away there. I think it might be Wayne Rooney?
It is correct, yes. Wayne Rooney did score twice in a 3-1 win.
I really doubted myself then, because then all of a sudden Peter Crouch came in my head and I was like, no, Crouch, go, leave.
Yeah, Crouchy, Defoe round then as well would have got a few goals, but yeah, there's only one man really at the top. So we're at what are we on now? 5 out of 7. Well done so far. Question number 8. The last time Scotland beat England was a 1-0 win in 1999. Who was the England manager that day?
1999.
Yeah. Yes.
Ooh. This is a tough one because
It is.
I have no idea.
Not fancy taking a stab.
I am going to take England manager 99. I'm trying to think who took them to the 98 World Cup, but I don't think it's the same person. Model. I honestly don't know. I'm going to go with Mike Bassett.
Why not? Why not? I wish it was. I'd give you the point.
It's not Glenn Hoddle.
No. It's not Glenn Hoddle.
This is after.
Yeah, this is after Glenn Hoddle. Yeah.
I cannot for the life of me remember who took over from.
It was Kevin Keegan.
Oh my god, oh my god, so Kevin Keegan as well.
Yeah, it was Kevin Keegan. Wasn't manager for too long, and then I think it was Sven after him. I want to say there might have been someone in between.
I knew he didn't take over to.
Yeah, Kevin Keegan. Yeah, we didn't do particularly well under Keegan. He didn't last very long as manager, but
I'm so annoyed with myself because I was going to say Kevin Keegan as well.
So close. It was more difficult than I thought it was going to be, so that's good. So you're on, for what are we on? 5 out of 8. So question number 9. Which Scottish club play their home games at Hampden Park? This is a great pub quiz question.
Hampden Park?
Yeah.
So that's the National Stadium.
It is the National Stadium.
Well, it's not.
Oh, no, it's not. It's not them two. Neither of them. It is one that you either know it or you don't. I think. I put this in as just a cheeky. It's the kind of thing that I think you'd enjoy with your Wonders of White.
Hampden Park. I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't even know anyone actually played there domestically.
No.
Can I get a clue? Are they in the top?
You can have a clue. How can I say this? Part of the name of the team is in the name Hampden Park.
I kind of feel like I know it now, but I kind of feel like the clue gave it away.
Yeah, it probably does a little bit. It's about all I can say because I know.
It's obviously Queen's.
It is, yeah, Queen's Park.
Right. I just don't give me the point for that because I kind of feel like without that I never would have got it.
I didn't know if you thought there was a Scottish team called Hampden. Yeah, they do. So they had a couple of years away. I think they played there till 2021 and then they had a couple of years away, but they're back playing there this season. And they average a couple of hundred people for every game, but they do play their games
really
at Hampden Park. Yeah. Strange experience. But yeah, okay, I won't give you the point for that one, so you're on 5 out of 9 at the minute.
I wouldn't have got that
one. Yeah, so question number 10, your final question to make it 6 out of 10. So it's a good job there's a bonus round. Who is the current captain of the Scottish national team?
Oh, bugger. Well,
I can give you a clue for this one as well.
I was trying to think last night. Who was the armband on last night? Is it? No, John McGinn. Is it John McGinn?
It's not John McGinn.
Hang on, let me have a think.
I'll give you a clue. He started his career at the club that was the answer to question number 9.
So he started at Queen. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who, if he was playing last, if the actual.
I just need to check that. Yes, he did. He started his career at Queen's Park.
Oh, it's not the clue that's given. It's just come to my head. Is it Robertson? Andy Robertson?
Yeah, Andy Robertson. Yeah.
I literally, I was going through visuals in my head of the game last night, and now I remember because when they scored, England scored the second goal. I remember them saying the captain. No, got it.
Yeah, Andy. I'll give you half a point for that. So I'll give you 5.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
But there is a chance for some bonus points.
Oh,
so 9 teams, other than Celtic and Rangers, have won the Scottish League. I will give you a point for each one you name.
Okay.
But if you get a wrong answer, you get no points. So you can basically select
go
when
as far as I can
go as far as you want, and then you can stop.
Right. So I think the first one I'll go for is Aberdeen.
Correct.
I know for sure they won that one because certain someone won it with them, didn't they?
Yeah, certain someone did. Yeah. So 6.5 points.
Right. Okay.
They won it 4 times as well, by the way. And they are the team that's won it the most. Well, they're joint with a few other teams, but they're the team that's won it the most, other than Celtic and Rangers, and they've won it 4 times.
I guess Aberdeen were the last team to win it, other than
they were.
Rangers. Okay.
Yeah, they were. So that's the dominance that Celtic and Rangers have had.
I feel like I think I'm going to go for another one in Hearts.
Correct. They have also won 4 titles.
Now this is getting tricky because I've gone with Hearts. So their closest rival Hibs. So I'm going to go with Hibs as well. How many did you say there were?
So there's 9 all in total.
Hibs are on there. They must be on there.
Hibs are definitely on there. They've won 4 titles as well. So they are the 3 teams that are level in 3rd place for the amount of titles that have been won in Scotland. Okay. So all the teams remaining...
There's another 6, yeah?
There's another 6 remaining, and they've either got 1 or 2 titles.
Right, okay. I'm going to go with... Do I go for one more? I feel like there's going to be teams in that Premier League now that have definitely won it. If there's 6 other teams, 5 pretty much no. I'm gonna say, I think this is going to be my last one. I'm going to say Motherwell.
Correct, Motherwell. Right, have won 1 title.
I'm stopping there because there's other teams I think. And
so 5, 6, 7, 8. So you've got 9.5 points. That's pretty good.
I would have probably said Kilmarnock.
You'd have gone Kilmarnock next, and you've been right. They've also got a title. So any other teams that you were on the fence with?
Oh,
there are. I don't know whether they're both in the Premier League.
I don't know. Have either of the Dundee teams won any?
I'll go one further. Both of the Dundee teams.
They both won
1 title each.
I shouldn't have bailed out. I bailed out too soon.
Yeah. So
that was another 3 I would have got there.
You could have had either, but the other two remaining are a lot more difficult.
Okay.
So
I wouldn't.
One you definitely wouldn't have got because they haven't existed for about 100 years, which is a team called Third Lanark.
Okay.
Third Lanark won 1 title. I think it was possibly the first title.
So that means there's one team left.
There's one team left, and I'm just going to do a bit of research because I actually don't know what league they play in. They are still a team.
Okay.
And they play in the Scottish League 2. They came second last year. And I know you don't keep up to date with your Scottish League 2 football, so I don't think that gives it away for anybody.
Scottish League 2? Well,
yeah.
No, unless I looked at the league table and saw who will finish second last year, I wouldn't know.
By all means.
What does it begin with?
It begins with D.
Double D. No idea.
It's Dumbarton.
Oh, I've heard of them, though.
Yeah, Dumbarton won 2 titles. Which is, basically the only team that is outside the Premier League, or, has been in the Premiership recently. They're the only team, really, that has won it outside of the bigger clubs, shall we say. They were one of the most successful teams of the 19th century, winning the Scottish Football League in the first 2 seasons of the competition. So I told a lie about First Lanark being the first winners. They actually won it in 1903, 1904. And
great season.
Yeah, runners-up were Hamilton Academical were the runners-up that season. Right. It's been predominantly Rangers and Celtic since then.
I imagine. They got over 100 combined, haven't they? So.
Yeah, it's they've had an obscene amount of titles between them. So,
okay.
Yeah. But anyway, well done. 9.5.
I'll take it.
Not bad at all. That was quite difficult. I deliberately made that difficult because we don't know much about Scottish football.
So I've got Who Am I this week? Now.
Yes.
This is either going to be a very difficult one or a very easy one. Depends. I will run through the list of teams. They are still playing, so I cannot give away their current team.
Okay.
So they are still playing, okay?
Yeah.
So, they started their senior career at West Ham. But whilst at West Ham, they went on loan to West Brom, Swindon, Swansea, Barnsley, Charlton, Gillingham, and Barnsley again.
Blimey. Okay.
Before signing for Wolves. And then at Wolves, they then left and they signed for Ipswich. Whilst at Ipswich, they went on loan to Coventry. Year after, they signed for Coventry. Then they signed for Tianjin Songjiang. And whilst there, they went on loan to Nei Mongol Zhonghu.
That's excellent pronunciation.
Before going to Gillingham.
Of course.
And then it's Gillingham, Southend, Newport, Colchester.
I think it's just come to me.
Plymouth. Back to Colchester on loan. Re-signed for Colchester. Leyton Orient on loan. And last season they were at Torquay United.
I think I was wondering where this was going, Chris.
Yeah.
But I think it's come to me, and I don't think any listeners would have heard our chat before the recording of this about him playing for Yeovil Town, I believe now.
Maybe.
He scored a bit of a wonder goal at the weekend from, what did you say, 40 yards?
About 35, 40 yards.
35, 40 yards. So I think it's Frank Nouble.
It is, yes.
But that's just because we were talking about him before the podcast started.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd have had no chance.
I looked at him and I thought I have to do him just because of purely the amount of clubs he's played for.
A ridiculous amount, isn't it?
If you knew this, and I didn't know this until I looked, but his youth career was spent at Chelsea. He was at Chelsea between 2004 and 2009 before signing for West Ham, his first senior contract.
I didn't know this. But it was listing the loan clubs for West Ham, and I was thinking, this player's really got to have turned it around with his next couple of moves to, be sort of fresh in the memory and sort of still playing. And to then go Wolves to Ipswich, and I'm thinking, I have no idea where this is going. Through to Tianjin, Sonjiang, and I'm like, it sounds like he's retired already. And it was only when you got to the Colchester, Plymouth, Colchester loan, Colchester permanent, I was like, oh yeah, I don't think I know where this is finally going. But yeah, he's done all right for Yeovil so far, by the looks of things.
He's had a good start, to be fair. I think he's 4 goals in 9 games, which isn't too bad considering his record previously. I mean, he's not the most prolific, let's just say.
No, he's not. He hasn't actually played all that much in the last 2-3 years. I don't know whether he's had injury problems, but I'm looking at his Wikipedia
He's only 31 though.
Yeah, oh yeah. He was a real talent. I mean, in his younger days, I remember, I think it must have been when Wolves or Ipswich picked him up, and they had real high hopes for him. I'm sure I remember watching him in a West Ham game in the FA Cup or something, and he played really well, but just obviously
really
never made it.
I mean, they were pumping a lot of balls up to him on Saturday. That seemed to be the game plan, was to hit it long, have him bring it down to feed the Wiggins.
England Youth International as well. Played for under 17 and under 19.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll be playing when I go on Saturday. I don't really know the team that they're going to put out on Saturday. I guess there's no reason not to put out a strong side. I mean, AFC Stoneman are in the same league as Sherborne, so I don't know.
Undoubted quality then.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they're going to do. But I thought when Jake Hyde came on Saturday, he did quite well as well when he came on. He came on at half time, so he did well. I mean, they got some good players.
Could do with a decent run in the FA Cup, get a little bit of money behind them.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, budget-wise, you've got a pretty good budget for National League South.
Oh yeah. They just signed another player yesterday. Another defender from Hearts. He was playing for Hearts last year.
He was.
Ireland International as well. So yeah, I would have thought that he'll get some look in on Saturday. I think they get 7 subs on Saturday. Because they can, in National League South, they can only have 5.
Yeah,
and
small
subs,
squads.
So,
yeah, very small teams.
Yeah, so we'll wait and see what happens. But hopefully it'll be good news on Saturday. And like you said, a good cut run, doing good.
We'll find out next week, I suppose, how they got on.
Anything else?
You'll have to give us a match report.
Anything else, Liam?
No, nothing from me.
Right, so that's it for this week. So we'll see you next week.